Hello nieces, hello nephews, it's your Uncle Charles here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we do unbiased price action analysis. Unfortunately, overall, we did not get the trend phase, the return of the trend phase. SPY decided to gap down a little bit last Friday. We closed around 459, and today we closed around 456.69. We avoided a breakdown, a daily chart breakdown of my 456.5 level. And I also mentioned to you guys about the 454.5 level as well. That was based on the multi-year trend line. Hopefully you guys have this trend line as well on your charts from all-time high connected to July high to November 20th high. Overall, the breakout is still intact, but it's not leading to the trend phase. You can see on the smaller time frame on this 15-minute chart, this red line here was my 454.5 level. It bounced, managed to close above 456.5, avoided a breakdown, but a couple of questions come to mind right now. Will this double top play out? That is the question. That's first question. Will this double top play out? And I will do that. I will do my best to answer that for you guys in today's video. But also, we're looking at dark pool levels here. We had a pretty big dark pool order here in premium. 2.3 billion in premium at 459.12. What was the candle? What was the high of today's candle? 459.12. Right there, say on according to TradingView, today's high was 459.12. According to Cheddar Flow, dark pool order at 2.3 billion. That's huge, coming in at 459.12. Coincidence? Is big money starting to sell, guys? Price action is the only thing that can answer this. And let me explain what I mean. If this is truly a double top, then the price action behavior will be bearish. And if it does, I need to see it break down 454.5, guys. I need to see it break back below. I need to see it break back below that multi-year trend line. Okay? Now, whether we get a false breakout, we don't want to call tops, but a lot of times the false breakout setups, they put in tops that lead to more downside. Another thing I'll be looking for if I was a bear, exhaustion gap. Now, if you refer back to July into early August, we had a gap down. Okay, it recently got filled last week, but it was the start of that gap down, exhaustion gap, that led us to this nice downtrend here that lasted a couple of months, a few months. So, okay, so all I'm saying to you guys, I know the price action has been whack, it's been terrible lately. But be patient. Market can't chop forever. It's not going to be low volume forever. Okay? If this double top plays out, guys, I'm thinking the loss of 454.5 would be the trigger that can lead us to more downside. Okay? And for all the swing traders out there, this would be applicable for swing trading. Okay? If I was a bear looking for a swing put position, I would play the breakdown of 454.5. I would leave my stops above 454.5. Okay. I'll probably look to take, for me, my style, I play it level to level. Okay. Level to level. So if I play the 454.5 breakdown, I'd probably look to take profits around 453-ish and then leave a runner. And then I would swing my runners. Okay. And if SPY decides to break down some more, then I could always add to my runners. Okay. So below 454.5, I would be bearish in favor that this double top is playing out. Watch for a gap down too, exhaustion gap. Watch out for that. We kind of had a gap down today, but it wasn't a big gap down. It was a small one. Okay, but overall below 454.5, that's when I would turn bearish. Watch out for a false breakout setup, which would be a breakdown because we cleared it. Remember, we cleared it. So a break back below would be a false breakout setup or an exhaustion gap to put the lower targets in play. 453, 451, 448.7 is a fib level. And I would definitely be bear bias below that 448.7 level and favor more downside. 446, 444. There is a gap at 440 still that could possibly get filled. Okay. Now, if you're a bull, you want to see the cancellation of this double top. To be invalidated, it needs to clear 459.5. A daily chart close above that level would be the trigger to take us higher. All right. So overall, below 459.5, below 459.5, the double top stays intact. We just need that bearish confirmation, a breakdown of 454.5 or a gap down below to target the lower levels. Okay. Only way this is canceled is if SPY gives us that daily chart close above 459.5 to put higher targets in play. Okay. QQQ, interesting here. It did finally gave us a close below the 388 level, going as low as 382.66. Okay, so does this mean we're going to head down lower? Well, this little gap down here did cool the RSI down a lot. So if bulls wanted to turn around and shoot QQQ higher, they, according to the RSI, they do have some strength to do it. But the only way for it to be possible is if it recapture 386 and especially 388. Okay, QQQ might try to retest it. If there is rejection at 388 and it breaks back below support at 386, 384.5 and 383, then sure, I would look to short. But if it breaks back above 388, that would be bullish in my opinion. Speaking of bullish, look at IWM. Amazing price action here on IWM, closing at 186.89. Okay, so next resistance I have is at 187, and if that clears, 189 and 191 are in play, and possibly even higher than that. Okay, I would switch back to bearish on IWM. I have a fib level here at 184.5. If that levels fail, I would switch back to bearish on IWM because of the breakdown of that support level. False breakout setup. We're not going to call a top, but if we get a false breakout setup, I'll definitely look to short and target the lower levels. Okay, 183, 181 would be my targets. 179, and the yellow trend line is at 176.5-ish. Okay, now here is Tesla. Tesla had an inside daily candle setup here. Okay, we're going to try to keep it simple and base it on this setup. So the range based on the mother candle is 240 down to 232. All right, anything between that range is chop. That's an $8 range. Okay, so it's around 235 right now. So I got resistance at 236, 237.5, 239, and then 239 to 240.19. The high of the mother candle's high is actually 240.19. So we'll put it at that, 240.19. And above 240.19, I would be bullish on the Tesla and favor more upside, maybe up to 243-ish, 245.5-ish, maybe all the way back up to 247. All right. To be bearish, I have support at 234.5. And of course at 232 based on the mother candle's low. If those levels fail, bearish, we could head down a lot lower on the Tesla. So watch that setup, 240 to 232. That's the chop range. Whatever way we break out of that range is the way that I'm going to lead, bullish or bearish, depends on the price action. Apple still chopping within this bull flag, and look at that, bounce off the bull flag. All right, it's creeping down. So support, critical support is now at 187.5. If it breaks down, bears break down the pattern, you could head down a lot lower. 185.7 and 184 would be targets. Okay, close around 189. So 190 and 191.5 are resistance still. So I can't get bullish unless we break above 191.5. Okay, support held again. Can it break out? We'll see. All right, 191.5 to 187.5 is the chop range. Watch for the break of that range before you pick a direction on Apple. NVDA here, very, very nice pullback, very tradable. But look at here, Uncle had a downtrend line from August 23 high. See how to touch here, touch here, touch here. We broke out back in November 8th, and it led to a very nice move to the upside. But today we back tested as a support to try to confirm the breakout of that trend line. And for me to trust that breakout, it got to get back above 458 based on my Fibonacci line, okay? If it can break above 458, I would look to long. We do have a gap at all the way up at 465-ish. So maybe we break above 458, we can get that nice move back to the upside, okay? But that trend line support is at 448, okay? I have support at 452 and 448. If those levels fail, guys, very bearish. Below 448, bears are in control. That would be a false breakout setup. Now, according to the RSI, it's pretty oversold. So there is a chance for a bounce. But remember, price action is #1 indicator. We need that 458 level to recapture. Overall, if it drops lower, RSI can be even more oversold. Price action says to be bearish, we should be bearish. That means if it breaks down the support that I mentioned, 452 and 448, we're bearish. False breakout setup. This trend line failed to hold. We could head down a lot lower, 444, and even possibly even lower than that. Okay, Amazon, it managed to gap down. It managed to close lower than it did last week, last Friday. It did manage to find some intraday buying pressure. You can see by that wick. So if that buying pressure is going to continue into tomorrow, 145 and 146.5 must clear recapture. False breakdown setup to put the high targets back in play. 148, 149.2ish, and the top of the megaphone is at 150.80. Okay. Now support is at 144, 142, and 140 still. If those levels fail, look too short. AMD, I didn't mention this trend line yesterday. I did mention it in the Discord, but I do have, a trend line all the way from all-time high in November of 2021 to June high and late November high. We got a test of it right here. We did manage to break out of that level on November 29th, a gap up though. And then, well, the next day on November 30th, we broke back below. That's a false breakout setup. And so far, AMD gave us more downside, okay? Didn't get an official breakout of this fib level that I have at 117.5. We did manage to go as low as 116.37, but didn't give us that daily chart breakdown. So if it does, 117.5 is the level to watch. We get that daily chart breakdown of it. We could, this false breakout that we had back in late November could continue its momentum and push AMD a lot lower. Okay, so 116.3 would be a support I would watch as well. And below that, I have 115 and 113. Okay, that 113 is the next fib level. Overall, right now, AMD closed around 118.5. So I have resistant at 119.5, 121, and that multi-year trend line is now around 122.8ish. It's gonna slope down, but overall above 122.8ish, I would be bullish on AMD. Okay, Meta showed a lot more downside. However, look where it bounced around my 78.6 fib level, around 315ish. Okay, so if bears want more downside, 315 is the level they must break down on the daily chart to trigger more downside. Okay, now we did get a bounce intraday, even though it's a lower close. If it's going to push us higher and bounce higher tomorrow, 321 must recapture. All right, 321 is a critical fib level that I have from all-time high down to November 2022 low. Okay, so a recapture of 321 will be a false breakdown setup and trigger more upside for bulls. Okay, Netflix, wow. After the big breakdown from last Friday, the breakdown continued with an exhaustion gap. Look at this, an exhaustion gap, and it continued. It is not looking good for Netflix. It even broke down my 78.6 fib level at 455. As long as below 455, I am bearish on Netflix. All right, next support is at 451. If that level fails, we could drop a lot lower. The only way I would be bullish is if 455 recapture to put the higher targets in play. I'll be watching 460ish, and the gap fill is around 465.7ish. We could watch out for that. Okay, but overall, I would stay bearish below 455. Google, not with the L. I got fib levels from October 12th high down to October 27th low. And today, GOOG is respecting one of my fib level. Okay, I have 38.2 fib level at 129.4ish, and that's right where GOOG bounced from. Okay, so for me to trust this bounce, 132 must recapture tomorrow to trigger longs and put the higher targets in play. There is a gap at 133.8. 61.8 fib levels at 134.4, and above those levels I'll be bullish because that's a recapture of some fib levels. Okay, now based on that buying pressure, I would be bearish if Google can break down 129.4, that fib level, as well as today's low. That should trigger more downside down to 126.4 and maybe even lower down to 124ish. Okay, and I think that's about it. There's Darkpool, 2.3 billion in premium at 459.12. It could be sells, guys. It could be sells based on how the price action was behaving. There is 685 million premium around 456.6, 456.7 million in premium at also around 456.6. That's around my 456.5 level. So definitely keep an eye on that level. Below it is bearish. Above it, maybe we have a chance to be bullish, but just remember that 2.3 billion in premium. Could that be sells from big money? Price action, according to price action, it looked like it might be, guys. It looked like it might be. Let's see what the flows are showing. Filter for 100K premiums or above. And well, there's more a quantity of calls right now for calls, but there are more premiums going into puts right now for the SPY. Okay, great. Okay, overall bearish on triple Q. Okay, overall bullish on IWM. Overall, okay, a little more in quantity for calls for Tesla, but more money in premium in puts for Tesla. So overall bearish on that. Apple is overall bearish. NVDA, more quantities of calls, but more premiums into puts. So more money's going into puts. So bearish. Amazon is overall bearish. AMD is overall bullish. Meta overall bullish. Netflix just straight up bearish. GOOG straight up bullish. And I think that's all. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and showing some love to Uncle Charter's channel. I appreciate it. If you want more content from me, definitely consider joining my Discord. Other than that, have a great evening. Peace.